What is up, hotties? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot, brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. I'm Blaiden Kirk, joined as always by my two favorite co-hosts of all time, Matthew Spawnhour and Theo Ash. Today we've got a very special episode for you. We're going to talk a little bit about Monday Night Football, and then we're going to go over the hottest coaching seats in the NFL. If there's anything that's harder to replace than, or anything harder to find than a good quarterback, it's a good coach in this league. Feels like everyone wants their head coach gone, with the exception of a handful of teams. We're going to see which one of these coaches actually deserves to get fired. We've already seen one go down. But before we get into it, Matt, Theo, how are you guys doing on this beautiful Wednesday evening?
I'm doing pretty well. Bladen. Watched some basketball last night. It was exciting to have that back. Watching SGA bend like Gumby, watching Chet Holmgren moving around off the ball, draining threes, watching Kevin Durant almost win his team the game playing purely mop-up duty, watching Şengün run around with great posture. That's one thing I noticed about Şengün, Matt, is he has like he'd be a good tackle, I feel like he kind of keeps his head up and like his back kind of arched and bent and kind of runs around with a good base and balance. I'm like, this center has some good tackle traits here, but instead of using it to block people, he uses it to go for like 30, 10, and 10 or whatever he had.
Yeah, he's a hair tall for it, I'm afraid, and he's already really good at basketball, so
yeah, he shouldn't switch.
If I were him, I would probably, especially since the season's already started and you don't want to switch up on your teammates. Yeah, I would stay with basketball. He was honestly like the most impressive guy from that game, I thought, just in terms of like where his shooting is at right now. I don't want to overreact to one game, but he did hit like 25% of the threes he hit all of last season just last night. So I'm excited to see how that, that goes from game one on.
My girlfriend's
reacting to one game though. I think you should.
Cammy's in a fantasy league and Şengün is in the free agent pool. And I said, go pick him up. Like, why isn't he on a roster? And she said, I don't want to. I don't want him.
I don't want to.
It's like, all right.
I can't imagine many leagues are not picking up Şengün, but
well, I think they all have gimmicks in this league. So like one is all like Slavic people, and then one is all injury prone people, and then one is all people named Jalen.
Okay.
And I just don't think Şengün fell into any of those categories. It has like,
how many Jalen's are there in the NBA?
A lot.
There's a lot of Jalen's. I think there's like maybe some Jaws and maybe some other JA names mixed in there as well. But there's a lot of Jalen. I can think of like 2 J Dubs off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown, Jalen Green, Jalen Brunson.
There's a lot.
Jalen, I don't know.
Clark.
I think there's more NBA players named Jalen than maybe even, I don't know. Do you think there's more NBA or NFL players named Jalen? The odds would tell you NFL.
Just number of guys.
Yeah.
I guess that's fair. Yeah, because I mean, there's Hurts, there's Carter, there's Lane, there's no
Johnson.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of guys. I guess I never realized how common of a name Jalen is.
Oh yeah.
Do we want to get into the Monday night games?
Yeah, let's talk about
Matthew. I would love nothing more than to talk about the Seattle Seahawks and the Houston Texans. Felt like a game that no one wanted to win, or I guess neither offense really wanted to win at a certain point. The defenses were making a ton of plays, especially the Texans. They were fighting for their lives defensively to stay in this one, and their offensive line is just pitiful. It's embarrassing how bad their offensive line is. And it really is funny when you look at, again, we talked all offseason about they had a bad offensive line last year. It felt like their solution was just to get rid of the main problem pieces and not actually improve, like bring in high level talent on the offensive line, and they were just going to bank on being more cohesive. That has not happened. They are still probably the worst offensive line in football right now.
Among them, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, especially against a team like Seattle that is willing to be kind of light in the box and say, if you can't beat our front four or our front six guys or so, we're not going to respect you, and we're going to say in a lot of like too high or whatnot. I mean, the Texans just don't have the guys to go up against like the Leonard Williams and that crew. They ran the ball poorly, and it made everything else difficult. I also thought that Stroud took some bad sacks in this one a couple of times where what he wanted wasn't open immediately. And I think when he gets heated up, he has a tendency to try to like roll out and make a play rather than stand tall in the pocket and really make a throw. It's not always true, but a lot of the sacks that he takes, in my opinion, are because of that. And he's really not like some crazy athlete rolling out of the pocket or anything. So I feel like he gets away with that at a lower clip than maybe some other quarterbacks could. Although once Nico Collins goes out, I mean, I just think the Texans' weapons are really bad. And, you know, people think of the Texans as like a largely similar team to last year, or even what they were 2 years ago. But there was a point when the receivers were like the thing to hype on the team as much as Stroud was. And now, I mean, even with Collins, I don't really think it's like that great, well fleshed out of a unit, even though I think Jalen Knowles showed some life here. But, yeah, I this is my problem with Houston. I just think the offensive line is too difficult to work around. Their defense is great, keeps them in a lot of games. I don't think Stroud is like a bad quarterback, but even the ones you do win, I feel like sometimes will feel a little weird, and then you'll have games like this where it's like, okay, I don't think there's much of a chance you go on a playoff run unless something significant.
First and goal at the 3, and they lost yards on that drive? Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
You're muted, Theo, but I'm sure you're cooking right now with grease.
Tons of frustrating stuff about this offense in Houston. Just tons of it. Talk about guys on the hot seat. It's hard to put D'Amico Ryans in that conversation because the defense is just so tenacious, and that's the primary thing he's in charge of. But it's like, man, these offensive results and the problems that they're having and the amount that they're underwhelming right now is getting to be pretty unacceptable. I mean, they cannot find an offensive coordinator that seems to have above bottom of the barrel like talent at his job. And it's killing them. And one play that really stood out to me was there was a safety blitz that the Seahawks dialed up, and it declared really before Stroud snapped the ball.
There were a couple of blitzes that Mike McDonald was in his bag in this game.
He's in his bag, but if you see the blitz before the snap, like if you're not in a good play for it, say, hey, whoa. Stroud talked this offseason about how he has more freedom at the line of scrimmage this year. And it's like, where is that? Because there was a time in this game where that blitz was coming down. They didn't have anybody to block that safety. And then the corner was playing with really heavy inside leverage on Nico Collins. And it's like, once you see that situation, you can't be running your slant right into that with the blitz unblocked, right? Say, hey, Nico, run a different route, catch that look pre-snap, and then you'll be able to do something. And the Texans just don't seem to be in the right look ever. It feels like they kind of run the same, like smash drive or bench drive sort of concept where it's like a corner route, then something crossing the middle, and it's bracketed because everybody knows that they're running. Like it doesn't feel like this passing attack can get to the right routes versus the right coverages. It doesn't feel like the line knows when the ball is about to be snapped. It doesn't feel like the running backs can do anything to make anybody miss. It feels like Stroud is missing reads when the first guy is open. Early in the game, there was a play where like Hutchinson was purely one-on-one press coverage, single high safety. He wins. And then Stroud moves like past it. It's like, man, why are we missing reads? Why are we not seeing hots? Why are we not getting the ball? Like, why are the linemen jumping way early constantly? It's just everything is so freaking ugly. And it's hard to know like how much of that is on Stroud, how much of that is on, like, we're not in those rooms. Like, who is the lazy one not putting in the work to put forward a offensive product you can be proud of? But Houston is just the worst offender right now, and they have been through the whole Stroud era of offensive coordination, it feels like.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know where they go from here. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
I was just going to say, I don't know where they go from here in terms of building out the rest of the offense. I feel like they're pretty far away.
So do I. I feel like you got to put Noel out there all the time. He's only at 28.5% of the offensive snaps. Like, if that's 90, what does it look like? If that's 80, what does it look like? Just play your best players. There was a punt return late in the game. Like, they needed it, right? They forced the 3-and-out in the fourth quarter. Like, deep in the Seahawks' own territory, they punt. And it's like, how are they still in this game? And then they punt, and it's like, all right, can Noel do something with this? And then it's like Braxton Berrios out returning the punt. It's like, there's no way he's a better returner than like a mover like Noel. So I feel like getting him more involved and maybe making a trade for a different running back. I don't know, but I just feel like at crucial positions, they're not maybe starting their best guys everywhere. And probably shouldn't have traded away Laramie Tunsil, maybe, sort of. That's kind of what it's seeming like. But.
Maybe, sort of. Yeah, and if you're going to be bad up front, you need to find ways to mitigate that. And they're just not right now. So it's a combination of play calling and it's a combination of talent. And it sucks because their defense rocks, dude. Their defense is so good. Will Anderson had a sack against Darnold where, I mean, he literally, it was the strip sack touchdown he had, where he literally brings down Darnold and strips the football out with one hand. I'm like, this dude's a freak.
He's a freak. Kalen Bullock is a bit up and down inherently, but like his ball skills on display on that pick were ridiculous. Stingley jumped her out. You got Lassiter with 3 tackles for loss, a pass defensed, and I think he forced the fumble as well, although forced fumbles isn't on his ESPN game log here. So I think I'm remembering that right. Just tenacious, just totally tenacious. There's no way you should lose that bad when you force 4 turnovers, right? Crazy. And you block a field goal, which maybe that counted as one of the 4 forced turnovers. There's 2 picks, the fumble, and then another fumble. No. So it's 4. Yeah. It's 4 and the blocked kick, and you still lost by as much as they did. Pretty embarrassing stuff for Houston. On Seattle's side, I mean, the story, I think, continues to be JSN, 123 yards and a touchdown. He's gone over 100 every game but one. He's clear first-team All-Pro receiver, offensive player of the year, like front runner, I'd say, along with probably JT.
Yeah.
Who would you give it to? Vote right now. JSN or JT, Blaiden? JSN, Matt.
We just talked about this with Ben Pfeiffer on the Patreon.
We did talk about JT, yeah.
We were talking about him and Daniel Jones, who's the more valuable player on that team right now. I do think JSN probably gets it with the season he's been having. The only thing that does still lean JT for me, and maybe I will end up giving it to him because of this, dude, the touchdown numbers are just insane. I mean, he's on pace to have over 20 touchdowns this year, just running, not even accounting for receiving. If he does that, I think that alone makes him the offensive player of the year.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to give it to JT just because he's a little bit higher compared to the next best or most productive running back, whereas I guess JSN's at 800 yards and Pickens and Puka.
JSN's on pace for like the greatest receiving season, at least in terms of yards ever.
Yeah.
And he's a Buckeye, so.
And he's a Buckeye. He's leading the league in yards per target. He's leading the league in yards. Puka is right there with some of the efficiency metrics, but 500 yard games. I'm going to lean JT for now, but I don't feel very, very good about that at all.
Either guy could win it, and I'd be perfectly happy.
Oh, yeah.
Out of this world this year.
People were trying to find they wanted a better nickname than JSN in the Stay Hot chat BCC, and that whole dialogue during the game was cracking me up. Especially the Emerald City route artist was like the prevailing.
We're never saying that. We're never calling him.
We're never calling him the Emerald City route artist.
What did you like Jackson Dart Smith and Jigba?
Jackson Dart, Jackson the Dart Smith and Jigba. I kind of like. I think about how he kind of reminds me of a bird with how his head sort of is so stable as he runs his routes. So I was just thinking we could call him the Seahawk. Jackson the
It's
Seahawk.
probably, I see your vision. That's probably too simple, though.
How about the owl? The owl.
The owl?
Is that a good nickname?
See, I think you gotta
kind of like glide down.
They glide. They're silent.
Yeah.
Their head turns 180 degrees. Like they'd be good wide receivers. Jack the owl.
Yeah. If you were making a bird NFL team, the owl would probably. I don't know. You might put your owl at safety. Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah, I think safety would be a good spot for an owl. Owl is also.
What about? Come on, Kyle Hamilton. What are you talking about?
You just had to mention Kyle Hamilton.
This is the first safety that came to my mind, man.
Who would you put at a quarterback if you were making a bird football team?
I put you at quarterback, bro.
I'm not a bird, but.
Well, I figured that they needed kind of a leader, and I feel like you would know everybody, so the chemistry would be good. But if I have to go 100% birds, bird universe, ain't no rule says Theo can't play football. But I don't know. I'd go turkey.
They'd be hard to sack. You get kind of Big Ben type scenes.
I feel like they'd have a good hard count with the gobble.
I'd jump if all of a sudden
we're mostly running trying to get them to jump offense.
I feel like I would put the seagull at quarterback because they are problem solvers, you know, like they'll find a way to get it done. You can put a seagull in any environment, and I feel like it'll find a way to
I'm going to take your word for it, honestly. I can't say that I really know if that's true or not. A lot of the birds have big talons that will puncture the ball.
Yeah,
so
I think that's what I would want
tough.
At wide receiver. But.
And no bird is really blocking that well, unless they're going up against other bird teams.
I think you are, potentially. Okay. But, yeah, it'd be hard for them to catch and run and hand off and things like that. But maybe the ball is a little bit smaller and the beak is where they would.
Well, they would have an alternate reality football designed for birds.
Yeah, throwing would be the hardest part. But yeah, JSN would be my bird 101.
He would be your bird 101. The JSN nickname I did like was the Enigma.
Jackson Smith Enigma.
I thought that's just sort of a play on the NBA nicknames that are going around last year.
The anomaly, yes.
What are the NBA nicknames going around?
There's just like the truth, and then there's the answer. That was Paul Pierce and Allen Iverson, and then the modern players want something cool like that. So then Jason Tatum was like a bunch of outlets started calling him the anomaly, and people were like, "This is not catching. We're not calling him that."
I've never heard anyone call Jason Tatum the anomaly.
No one actually calls him that. Like, I think it was something that a couple outlets tried to get going, and then people laughed
Jason
at it.
Tatum's agent was like, "Yo, here's a 10K."
Joker is such an elite nickname. There's some good ones in that. You don't like Joker?
No.
You're shaking your head at Joker is awesome.
What's good about it?
I just think like the wild card and
the issue is that he's not really a wild card.
He's consistent, but his name is Jokic, right?
Right.
And I feel like,
what if he was Joker? I mean, look, no hate, no disrespect. Do what you want to do, call him what you want to call him. I never thought that it was like that great a nickname, and then all of the like, again, no disrespect or hate, edits that come out of it are like him and the Joker makeup, and to me it's just not tough.
Not tough. Maybe. I might be a sucker for the Joker makeup. If you go to a Denver Nuggets game, every time he scores, they like some like card flips on the screen, some Joker card with Jokic's face on it. I'm like, that fits in pretty well for like branding and stuff, which is probably what you need to be a good sports nickname. There's not a lot of good NFL nicknames out there right now.
It's like if you were calling Kyle Anderson Magic. It's like, that's just not his play style. Magic works great for Magic Johnson because, like, play style wise, he really is like that. You know what I'm saying?
Jokic, I guess you could passer.
That's a good one. But like, you know, whereas, like, is Jokic really a joker? It's like not.
I don't know. He sort of has this unorthodox type of way that he plays. I don't know. I like Joker.
He's
better
kind of
than the
1-1. I'll give you that. There's nobody.
It's certainly better than the anomaly.
There was
LeBron
another Monday Night Football game though.
Oh yeah, we got
Oh yeah, right. Baker. Look, Baker. He is a serviceable quarterback. All right. I don't know who's going to be offended by that. I don't know if that's the wrong thing to call him, but like serviceable starter to me is solidly the bucket he has always fallen into, at least in Tampa Bay. And I think people are going to have to be okay with that. All right. I know that he's got a bad attitude and a low center of gravity, and it's cool. But again, he falls into the same category of Scatterbo, where he's kind of ghetto Gronk slop. And I feel like he has a tendency to get over talked about on social media and
he was
get a little bit overhyped.
He had a stinker. But
he had a stinker. He had a stinker, and it's okay. It doesn't erase everything good he's done this year, but like that's not his first stinker this year either. Like the Eagles game was not great, and then the Falcons game was not great. This is his third game under 60% completion rate in 7 weeks. All right, so he's below average accuracy, I'd say. People are like, man, Baker really looks jittery. He really looks erratic right now. And it's like, Baker just always looks like that, guys. Like, Baker's always jittery and erratic. Always. Now, he can complete passes while he's jittery and erratic. We saw him do it versus the Seahawks. Like, that was a great game. The fourth quarter against the 49ers, like, jittery and erratic Baker balled out in that fourth quarter and carried him for sure. But he is that, like, deep in his soul. That is how he plays, and it burns him frequently. Like, over the course of a season, there's going to be a couple games where it's like, oh, man, like, he sailed that one. Like, oh, that was a bad pick. Oh, that was a weird sack. Like, it just happens all the time over the course of a season compared to, like, an honest-to-God MVP favorite. I look at the MVP frontrunner stuff. It was always doomed because you look at MVPs across leagues, they're always the best players in the sport. Always. Like Aaron Judge is the best player in the MLB. SGA is the best player in the NBA or whatever. Like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, yes, they're quarterbacks and it's a quarterback award, but they're also like the best player in the NFL, you know, or on that level. Like random journeymen do not actually provide MVP value, even if they do resurrect their career in an admirable way, like Mayfield did. And that's why it's like, I just never really bought him as the MVP front runner, and it didn't surprise me that he had this game. I think he had a well-rounded case through 6 weeks. Like, yeah, the team was injured. He wasn't number one in any statistical category, but he was near the top. He was top 5 in a lot of the statistics that you want to look at, I think. He had some. I'd say the Seahawks game was at least a little bit signature. Maybe not like Lamar Jackson versus Houston on Christmas or Josh Allen versus the Chiefs, right, ending their undefeated streak in like week 9. But like as far as, you know, it being week 6 or 7 goes, like, yeah, it was, he had the moment. So it was a fine case. I thought he was in the running, but it's like, man, he was never the front runner. And I just feel like people were way too sensitive about me saying that on like Twitter and stuff. And it's not the only storyline. It's not all Baker is, but I just got to get it off my chest here as we talk about this game.
No, you do. You do.
Yeah.
Do you know who the top 4 players are in big time throws this season?
May.
PFF?
It's got to be May.
Nope.
No? All right. Well, then I don't care.
Okay,
May.
Stafford.
Okay. Dak
is number 4. Well, he's tied
Baker?
for 3, but like Baker is tied with
I
Dak.
assume you brought it up for a reason.
Yeah, Baker's in there. And then Darnold is the other one who's in there. Of those guys, Baker is the only one with more than 10 turnover-worthy throws as well.
High highs, low lows. That's fine. Yeah. I can see that with him.
So.
Yeah, I'm not quite as like low on Baker as maybe you are, Theo.
No one is.
And
so
like, look, I don't think you're crazy for calling him mid, and I'm not freaking out one way or another about it. When you said that, I didn't think you're evil, and I don't think anything you've said on this podcast has made me think that you're evil. But I do think, like, on some level, like, if you victory lap, like, right after he has a bad game, like, people, of course, Baker fans are going to take that as you talking shit and then talk shit back. I'm not super surprised by
I'm not
that.
surprised either, but I also talk shit before that game. Like, I didn't wait until he had a bad performance.
That's true.
I said it.
It's that Michael
the whole
Jordan
season,
thing. It's
like,
easy to talk. It's easy to talk when you're up or whatever. And like, look, obviously, like, a 6-game sample size can go hard one way and then break another. And I totally agree about your point that, like, dark horse MVPs are like guys just getting hot for a season. It just doesn't work like that. You really got to be one of the top couple of guys.
Yeah.
And Baker, to me, like, is not, what the QB4 is what the consensus ranking had it on your website, Blaiden, from people voting. Yeah, I'm not sure it'll be quite that anymore.
I'll check it.
I mean, certainly the story of this game was that Baker played very bad. He was very inaccurate and missed a lot of throws, and they easily could have been in this one. It's true that obviously, like, the weapons in Tampa have not been perfect. He's had a bunch of guys be banged up. Everyone's dealing with hamstrings. Mike Evans broke his collarbone. That's a really tough one.
That one seemed a little career.
Being a receiver and breaking your collarbone, I've heard, is not awesome.
Been there, done that.
Yeah,
I see it every time I see someone. I'm like, every time I see someone land a certain way, I'm like, yeah, it's a broken.
Yeah, you knew that one was a broken collarbone right away. I had no idea what it was. I was damn.
It seemed like every single part of him went, like, my Subaru. This is a thing with Subarus. Like, if one thing goes wrong, every light goes on, so it gets your attention and you bring it into the shop. And that's what seemed to happen after the Mike Evans drop there and awkward landing, is like every single check engine light was on for him there. It's this could be his knee, this could be his head, this could be his shoulder. He had a hamstring already, broke his collarbone, and got a concussion. So it really was a head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
I didn't think his head hit the ground that hard to get a concussion. I just saw, as soon as I saw the angle of his shoulder compress, I'm like, it's over.
You and my mom both need to get on a collarbone podcast, because she's broken hers 3 times. She's broken hers 3 times.
Dang,
so she's always very sensitive to collarbone injuries, and
that's probably milk propaganda. I don't know if that's actually true.
The Got Milk commercials bringing those back.
Yeah, that's probably like all fake or something like that. Well, the point I was getting at was that, yes, the Buccaneers receivers are injured, but a lot of the other guys I think actually have just been playing well. Like Tez Johnson, I'm bringing him up every single week. I love Tez Johnson.
As you should.
I love that he went into the combine. I forgot how light he was. I thought, like, yeah, he was like 165. Nah, dude, he was 154 at the combine, ran a 4.5. And he's great, man. He's just super nimble. I understand it comes to limitations, but he's been balling. The issue is that, like, Baker just missed guys who were open. And the Lions had a completely banged up secondary. So at worst, you're on even footing.
Evil.
The other thing is, like, I really feel like Detroit's defense could be something special if they can get to 100%. Their defensive line with McNeil back, the impact that he was making, you got Hutch out there. Muhammad had a big game. You can rotate in Williams or Reeder. Like, they've got these linebackers who are great. I mean, Campbell had a couple of great plays. He's been good for a long time. And we know they have players in the secondary. We know they have guys. Corner is a little bit more shaky than safety, but it's not like they're just missing dudes who are actually, like, not impact players. I mean, Branch and Joseph are big deals. So if I'm a Lions fan, like, I'm feeling pretty dang good about what the defense could become. And the run game looked all right tonight. I mean, they broke off a couple of big ones. Gibbs is like a tier 1 running back. I don't know how the tiers actually break down, or if he's like, well, actually, I would put this guy in a tier above everybody, or like if it's like a Mahomes, like what you would say about him after he like wins MVP type of situation. But his burst and speed and acceleration, it's just ridiculous. And you can see it. It's so easy to see him turn a 20-yard play into an 80-yard play. You know what I'm talking about? Probably easier than like any other player.
Yeah, I think I stand by my Gibbs over Bijan ranking from the offseason. Like I think
That's
I would
tough,
take
man.
I would
I
take
can't be
Gibbs's
mad at it
speed
either way. I know
over
the
the cutting
consensus right
ability.
now is Bijan, and I don't have an issue with that. I might be that guy, but I like the shot that Gibbs is right there with him for sure.
For sure. It's
There was
Bijan, Taylor, and Gibbs. And I think Saquon is still there if they can ever put some variety in the running game. I'm confident that he'll be back, but he's having his worst season. So
yeah,
I don't know if he's above those three right now.
it's just so tough because running backs can fall off so quickly, and they're so dependent on the offensive line, of course. I thought Tampa's defensive line did get some wins in the run game. Don't get me wrong. I didn't think it was just like perfect mashing flawlessness, but Vita Vea is a demon. So of course, like that's how it's going to go maybe against dang near anybody. And then, Goff did his thing, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think is, it's easy to say that any given receiver is kind of underrated because once you get to making the list, someone's got to be outside of the top 10 or outside of the top 5. Amon-Ra obviously is in the top 10. But the consistency at which he gets open on those short routes and like the timing that he can play with, it's so easy to see how it's super valuable. So I thought this was a great win for Detroit. I mean, obviously the Buccaneers could have made it a little bit closer if Baker was having a better game. It's not doesn't necessarily say that's Baker's whole season. I wouldn't have necessarily said he was on mid-quarterback island. At least I can't right now because he's balling too much. But yeah, I think that him and the Buccaneers can be a little bit better.
To be fair, I put him on mid-quarterback island before the Seahawks game. He just really wanted to win. He wanted to win mid-quarterback island really bad.
He wanted, and all right, give him
showed
credit.
out for 2 weeks.
Give him credit.
And yeah,
we gave the award to Darnold, and honestly, I feel pretty.
Darnold's a baller, man.
We cooked with the winner. I
like Darnold, man. I'm rooting for him. I mean, I wasn't that big a fan of the move or whatever. I probably gave too much credit to the Vikings situation over how Darnold was playing, but even then, he might even be playing better now.
I think
some of the timing of his throws with JSN. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I think JSN is Offensive Player of the Year, but like, it's just cool to see Darnold so much more confident and in control than he was. I mean, way back in 2018, 2019, back when he was with the Jets, right? Or even when he was with the Panthers. I mean, I thought that Darnold was kind of just like a check down. I'm taking what's easy merchant. And then like Christian McCaffrey would go superhero mode and he'd have 120 receiving yards and whatnot. But Darnold's a good player. I think the Seahawks have done a really good job building this thing up. They had a great offseason. Man, they got Darnold on a good contract for a little bit here. There's still some things that need work. I don't think the running game is very good. And that's kind of a disappointment. But overall, like, you're really happy, and you feel like you have a lot of the big pieces in place in Seattle. You have the coach. You feel like you have the quarterback. You have our number one wide receiver. Those aren't easy.
Defense.
Yeah, the defense.
There is efficient, and the stats would say like the Colts are the best team in the league, and then after that, it's pretty much the Seahawks. The other thing I want to mention about the Bucs, obviously, you wouldn't do over the first round pick at all. You'd still go with Egbuka. In fact, if you did a draft redo, Egbuka might be the first overall pick. But it does suck that they couldn't grab Campbell or some other linebacker. Schweschinger, like whoever, because next to Levante David, it's just a disaster. How do you pronounce Servakia Dennis? Servakia, number 8. When I first saw number 8 out there, like a few weeks ago, I thought it was Baker in there with a sub package. Like it was that body type. It was that kind of quality mover. I'm like, I get Baker's a dog, but are we really having him blitz right now? And then I find that it's like their starting linebacker, Dennis. I'm like, oh, that's not good. Sometimes you have this thing where immediately you see a starter that does not belong. Reed Shepard for the Rockets last night, Matthew. Oof. That's not a guy who belongs out there. Who's this guy who's way smaller and like a traffic cone on defense? Like that guy shouldn't be out there. That's how I feel about Dennis on the Buccaneers. Number 8 is like that guy is just not visually and just playing. It's ugly. He missed 4 tackles.
It just doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good. It does like, oh man, that's a weird body type for a starter. Is he a dog? No, he's not. 4 missed tackles for him, and then 15 missed tackles overall for the team. that was a high for the season for Tampa Bay. They also missed 11. That's the only other time they missed double digits and they missed that week 1. I feel like Tampa Bay's defense is just kind of undersized outside of Vea. Like if Vea has to go to take a break for whatever reason, it's just a bunch of small dudes out there overall in the secondary on the D line, and they can kind of get run over. If he were to miss any time, it would just be a disaster. Like he's what really makes him scary.
I have a take to get off if
Sure.
you're done talking about Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
this
100%.
is an obvious one. We've talked about this before. That 10 o'clock Monday night game, nope. It barely works to start a basketball game at 10. I can get through that barely. A football game at 10. I feel like the NFL's been getting lucky with some of these because, I mean, it's not uncommon for a long football game to run you like up to 4 hours. I mean, are they fine with the game going to 2 a.m.? I hate feeling like I have to battle to stay up and watch the whole thing. And I don't know. I like the one game to focus on more on Monday night, but
I wish it was an island
East
game,
Coast baby.
Yeah,
especially with how bad the noon window was in this week. Like, damn.
You're not taking the game from nowhere for sure. And then the other thing that they do is like you have the overseas game, so you get the morning wake up. I'll be real. I have no problem with making the game global. I understand that this is more of like a feature of trying to do that rather than maybe an intentional thing where it's like they want to have football all day. I like being able to get some stuff done in the morning and then hitting the games at like noon or 1 o'clock. I don't want to wake up and like, I'm like, maybe it's a Sunday morning. Maybe I get up at 9. I don't want to be like, I got to rush through my shower. I can't brush my teeth quite as well as I would have liked to because Roger Goodell is breathing down my neck. And maybe it's not that serious, right?
But I don't want to watch Carson Wentz while I'm eating my bowl of cereal.
You don't want to sit and watch football from 7 to you don't want it from 7 a.m. to midnight.
I can't do that much sitting. Not 4 games worth in a row. But maybe I'm not a sicko. Maybe other people are. But like, I don't want to get back from the gym and I'm down 25 in fantasy already. I didn't even see what happens. And then that starts the football day off in a bad mood. I got my arms crossed, but
I might be down for the London games to be on like Fridays or something.
Oh,
or
yeah,
like,
I would be down with it being a different day too. That'd be okay.
Or maybe morning. I don't know. Because it needs to be weekend, but Saturday is college's time.
But here's the thing, right? If they already sort of have to set the teams up in London, right? Because it's not like a normal game where like you leave maybe Friday, you get in Saturday, and then, I mean, maybe it is. I don't know exactly, but like, I feel like you could just have them at a different time. Like, does it
like
have
what the games? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we're talking like kind of very ignorantly about very complicated logistical shit. We're like, couldn't they just make it so where I don't have to wake up? And it's like, okay, it's probably, they're like trying to fly like 100 players out to London. We're like, it would be cool if this was at like 3 hours later because I gotta go on the elliptical. And it's like, it's not that simple.
Okay, you know what? Maybe we are dickheads. I don't know.
Can they start it at 10 p.m. in London? 10 p.m. London time, and then it's 5.
Well, they're fine doing that to us East Coasters with the West Coast games. So, they should see how it is. Before we bring the NFL over, this is the life you're living. Well, I guess in London, the regular games start at some horrifying time. That would be tough.
So
yeah.
what? They're currently, 9:30 would be what? 2:30 for them?
I have no idea.
It's 5 hours.
Honest to God.
I think it's a 5-hour difference, so
that'd be pretty tough. So that means the 1 o'clock games would start at like 6.
It would start at...
They would start at 6.
I guess that's not that bad, but then the late games go basically until 4 a.m. or something. Longer than that. So it's tough. Do we want to get into the head coaches?
There's
that are on the hot
I want to
seat?
say. First of all, I have the consensus QB rankings up. Top 10 is Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Baker, Herbert, Burrow, Stafford, Prescott, Daniels, May. Sam Darnold's not on there, and Baker is still at 4.
I think that's interesting. Also, Theo, when you tweeted out Herbert is horrible and you get like 50 quote tweets of everyone taking you dead serious. That shit was killing
Yes. They're like, we lost Theo. It's like,
and like he was having like a bad moment or two. You know,
yeah, he had like one bad. He had like 400 yards in that game and like a bunch of great throws, but he did have a horrible pick in the red zone. Like that one was extremely bad. But yeah, people took me dead serious with that.
They did. The other thing is all this hate about 2 NFL games on Monday night. The next Monday night game is only one game. It's Chiefs Commanders, and we will be live for it. Thanks to the good fellas over at FanDuel. We'll be sitting here. We'll be watching the game, chatting it up with you fellas, just here on YouTube. So make sure, if you're not subscribed already, subscribe so that you get the notification when we go live, so that you're ready for it. And speaking of FanDuel, they've got an offer you don't want to miss this NFL season. New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet $5, and if it wins, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. You can build parlays, bet player props, ride the live lines, whatever your style, FanDuel has you covered. The NFL season is here. The only question is, are you ready to play? We're in week 8 now. So visit FanDuel.com/podcast. Download the FanDuel app today and get started. Disclaimer: must be 21 plus and present in select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. I got a comment on TikTok the other day when I posted my locks because I bet $10 on them and they hit. And someone was like, bro, you got to put more than $10 on it. I'm like, why?
You don't.
You really don't. I think once you get to the point where you're like, I have to put a minimum amount on like sports betting, it might be time to call a number.
You can. Everybody's got their units, right? Like, when I make a bet, it's this, and 10 is a lot for I don't know. I think it is.
But he was like, if it's a lock, you should put more on. I'm like, all right, man.
There should be great financial risk on this bet. It's like, it's not that much of a lock.
You should put.
Yes, let's talk about these coaches. It feels like every team or every fan base wants their coach gone, with very few exceptions.
A lot of fan bases are mad at their coach. How many guys are realistically on the hot seat? That's how I did it. I just looked at like who here is like in big trouble at the current moment. October 22nd, 3:52 West Coast time. This is who I think is in trouble. Mike McDaniel is obviously number one if we're ranking them. I mean, he's week to week here in terms of how long he's going to survive. Shout out to him for not getting fired this week. Frankly, I thought this was a fine nail in the coffin. The issue isn't just the results, and I do feel bad for McDaniel in the sense that I think he's tied to a super limited quarterback, and that limits how much you can do. And I think a lot of coaches that get themselves fired are ultimately tied to bad quarterbacks, and it's very hard to overcome, and you don't get a lot of opportunities. Like, you're not going to get 3 new quarterbacks in before you get shown the door. It's just not how it works. That being said, the vibes in Miami are obviously atrocious. I mean, you've got Tua going up and saying people are missing player meetings. You had a player meeting from like week 1, was it? Or am I misremembering that? And it was week 2. Regardless, you don't see stuff like that happen with well-run teams. I think he's a smart football guy, but obviously like things have gone so wrong with the situation there. The team build is a little tough right now. You got a bunch of money going to Tyreek, who's hurt. You got a bunch of money going to Tua, who's Tua. So it's like you need to do a hard reset. And even though I think McDaniel is like a plus offensive game planner, like provides you some real advantage there, and that's not easy to find, at a point of resets to call. So he's my number one. There's no question that he's in trouble and should go whenever, honestly.
What are they going to do about Tua and the contract? He has a $56 million cap hit next year, a $53 million cap hit the year after that, a $65 million cap hit the year after that, and then an $11 million cap hit as a void year the year.
What's the dead money?
I think you release him. I think you release him as soon as you can, honestly, if that's the direction you're going with this rebuild. I mean, he's really, really limited. He's really, really injury prone, but there's no like, well, we have to stick by our investment here. At some point, what you could do if you really wanted to is like post June 1st cut him, and maybe you could save a little bit of money next year and spread that dead cap over 2 years. So
Yeah.
I don't know when exactly that would be an option for him, but I'm sure it's something that they would think about if they wanted to completely move on, which if I were them, I would. But yeah, it's super difficult. It's like a Browns level situation, no disrespect, that they're dealing with. It's just going to be tough to build around such a big portion of your money, not only going to the quarterback, but going to a quarterback that you probably like might not even play.
Yeah, June 1st is the date that you're looking at, Matt. You're absolutely right there. Pre-June 1st, if they were to release him, they would beat out $42 million. Just
And so he's only got $42 million guaranteed after this season.
Well, it's 99 in dead cap. And so after the cap hit loss, your net negative is 42. And then after June 1st, that turns to 11.
You probably just keep him on the roster and start eating through his money rather than like literally cut him to lose even more money. I mean, you can roster him, right? The Browns haven't cut Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, that's
so he's going to be on the roster for one more year, it sounds like, definitely. And then after that, you could post June 1st cut him and you'd probably have savings, even though you might still have $20 million of dead cap on the books for another 2 years, without the numbers in front of me. But it's going to be a process, and whatever coach you bring in, I think you have to say, we're going to give you some serious time to rebuild this thing because we're coming from such a tough position, right? And if not, then it's going to be a super undesirable job, basically. That's my opinion. If you have no QB and you're already working against the mistakes of the old regime more than like you would expect in an average place where they just fired their coach, yeah, it wouldn't be desirable to me at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have to just blow the whole thing up, like start to like clean house. You know, at the end of Iron Man 3, when he blows up all his suits, that's what this is. All right, it's clean slate protocol. Get everyone out of there. That includes Tyreek.
Well, Tyreek is not going to be easy to move as is. I mean, he was already somebody who was contemplating retirement, and he really messed himself up. I don't know how much longer is on his contract off the top of my head, but the thing is that like the blowing it up for the Dolphins, the guys that they have on big money contracts, at least a couple of them, are not movable. They're bad deals. They're players that people aren't going to want. So I agree with you, like on a Bradley Chubb or probably a Devon Achane maybe at this point, if you feel like you're not even going to be. Waddle, I mean, are you really going to trade every single player and intentionally be the worst team in the league? You set yourself back more than you think, just like trying to get rid of every player who is any good. I would say with a running back, I can see you start to become worried about the timeline because he's in year 3 now. If you feel like you're not even going to be competitive for 2 more, and then he's going to need a contract, and he's already injury prone, I think you could get a lot for him. So I would at least think about it, whereas before, like I was maybe questioning if they should, because I think he's a great player. I think he's a complete demon and a game changer for a team that was better than what Miami is right now. But yeah, I mean, if you've got vets that you can move and save money, if you're Miami at the deadline, they should be one of the most active sellers. There's absolutely no question about it.
What about Aaron Glenn?
Aaron Glenn is really tough. They're 0-7. The issue with Aaron Glenn is that like the defense has really not been that good, and it's really not that like talent devoid. It'd be one thing if he was going into an unworkable situation. It's like, okay, everything sucks, and you say that's not his fault. But even where you would have hoped to be good and you like made some investments, or at least you have some guys that have been invested in, you don't really see any results. I don't know where they rank EPA per play. I think it was like in the 20s, I know for sure, on defense. They had a good game against Carolina, but even then, I just think like they're not really getting a ton of pressure, and sometimes they can feel a little bit stagnant. I do like Glenn, though. I just like him. You know, every time they cut to him on the sideline, I'm like, this has got to be the best 0-7 coach of all time. It's got to be. But it wouldn't totally shock me if you say, hey, the plan offensively was just really bad. Bringing in Fields was just a really bad idea that wasn't going to work. You're getting the very least out of him. And defensively, like if you're going to be a defensive-minded coach, you got to feel like you're really, plus on that side, right? Because the meta is like the offensive guys. And while I don't completely agree with that necessarily, I think defensive guys are working a little bit, from a different spot and got to really show it. And Glenn hasn't done that. However, the idea that you would in-season fire him to me is ridiculous. I mean, that's total insanity. Moving off of a guy before he can even finish his first year, barring like an Urban Meyer situation or some shit like that. And this clearly isn't. So I don't know. I really like Glenn, but it wouldn't shock me if they said we have to have a little bit more returns than this. I also don't think the Jets have been quite as bad as like having the worst record in the NFL shows. They're bad, but I don't think they're like any worse than, I don't know, the Titans who have a win. Although the Titans fired their coach, so maybe that's not really like the best example.
Yeah, the Titans we've talked about that already. But that was a firing that had to happen. Here's an interesting couple of stats for you. The Jets defensive EPA per play ranks 27th in the NFL right now. Their defensive success rate ranks 4th.
Really? So they're just giving up monster plays.
It's because they're the 4th ranked rush defense by EPA per play, and they're the 31st ranked pass defense by
and it's because
DVOA.
Their pass rush is really not particularly great.
So when they hand it off, you can stop it, right? So their success rate is high. But when teams drop back, they can't stop it. So the EPA is high.
That makes sense.
Yeah, with Glenn, you can't fire him in the season, but in terms of earning a second year, like I definitely have my eyebrow raised with him. And they had just a disaster offseason, like you mentioned, Matt. I mean, like if you're coming over from the Lions, why not run and have your team identity like the Lions? Like let's invest in the offensive line, get a really scary run game, wide zone, under center, just be able to pound the rock and then be able to play action off that, exploit the zones in the middle of the field, right? But they just got the worst quarterback to do that with. You can't go under center with Justin Fields. You can't throw over the middle with Justin Fields. Like it's just a wrong quarterback for that system that they are coming from. So the offensive coordination has been like directionless, I'd say. It was weird.
It's just limited because Fields only throws this underneath stuff and sits back there forever. And like they gave him this big
what were they
contract.
doing?
What the hell had he proven? That's Daniel Jones didn't get this contract, did he? No, right? He got $30 million guaranteed. They got these like void years tacked on.
It's 2 years. Yeah, it's multiple years. Like if you cut Fields right now, it would hurt you a little bit next season. I mean, there's $22 million worth of dead cap in 2026. His cap hit has $9 million in 2027, $3 million in 2028, $3 million in 2029. Like, what were they doing? Like, everybody involved with that contract can like go maybe. Even if it's their first year and that's their first deal, it's like, come on, what were you guys thinking?
You just can't pay that kind of money for a guy it's like him and Dylan Gabriel for the worst quarterback.
And as bad as Fields is, I feel like they're still way too conservative on offense, even with him. Like, I understand that dropping back before halftime might get you sacked and it might not work out. But why not give yourself the shot of a big play? Like, you're not going to be able to hit a Hail Mary if you don't throw a Hail Mary. You know what I mean? You're not going to be able to have anything good happen if you don't try. Like, you've kind of got to fake it till you make it, I feel like, or like pretend you're really good until it actually comes true. Like, okay, when is the time right to try to score points before halftime?
You're like 0-5, 0-6, bro. It's
like you're not gonna.
What are we saving?
What are we saving? Like, okay, he might get sacked, he might throw an interception, he might fumble, but like, I'm still willing to say like a deep ball completion is probably more likely still, even for the Jets, than like a fumble 6 going the other way. Like there's just not many of those over the course of the season, even if you drop back, like with Justin Fields. So like, why not try? Like, why aren't you going down swinging? I thought Aaron Glenn was going to bring some heart. I thought he was going to bring some like, we're going for it. We got our foot on the gas pedal. Like
Dan Campbell was the head coach, for him.
Bring that energy to it. I don't care who's on the roster. Like, act like you've got a good team, and maybe some surprising results will come your way. Like, Glenn is acting like the team is dog shit. Like, he's calling plays like the team is terrible, and they are. I understand it, but like, try anyway. Like, what do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? Why are you playing not to lose? And you're this bad. I don't get the way he's kind of handled these 2-minute situations this season. I don't agree with it. I think Jets fans are right to be upset because, like, how do we know when is the time right? Like, I don't know. You're not gonna luck into Dak like out of nowhere. You're not gonna lock into, okay, wow, here's rookie. Maybe there's rookie CJ Stroud around the corner, but like, I don't know. If you're going to be a defensive guy and also just not maximize your in-game situational like moments, it's like, what value are you bringing here? Like, I get you need culture. I get you need, but like, culture comes from winning. You're going to lose the locker room if you lose. So I don't know. I'm not sure if Glenn brings elite value to the table as a head coach from what I've seen so far. You can't fire him mid-season, but like, and here's the other thing is like, I don't know about this crop of coordinators coming up to be head coaches in this next upcoming cycle. Like I don't, Joe Brady, like you can maybe have him, like,
that's the thing is there is sort of this quarterback-y process of it where you were like, well, if we fire this guy, we could get someone better, but you might not.
You might not. And
there's really not that many good coaches. I completely agree.
And so I think preaching patience with Glenn, like, I think it's still a valid thing to do because he has gotten a raw deal with the Jets, and the Jets aren't going to be able to hire a top tier candidate anyway. Like, their ownership sucks. They handle everything poorly. If another coach goes one and done, like, you're getting another Aaron Glenn caliber guy. So you might as well be patient with him. Like, I really think that is the move, but I think that it's not all just, oh, well, he has Justin Fields, so nothing could look better.
Well, I'll say this. If that's what we got to say on Glenn, there's another year one guy that I think is in some trouble.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll. It's bad. It's bad. And
I would be more on board with firing Pete Carroll than Aaron Glenn. Absolutely.
Okay, I could see your vision on that. I mean, the issue here is that you bring Carroll in, I think also as kind of a culture guy. You're a team that's been sort of up in the air, and you had the interim, and that didn't last very long, and shit's not been going right or whatever. But you bring him in he is the oldest head coach in league history. He's the oldest head coach in the NFL currently. And the instant results are really, really bad. I mean, he brings in his guy Geno, and I'm not saying I didn't believe in this move, but it has been nothing short of like one of the worst moves of the offseason, outside of maybe the fact they didn't give up that many assets, but they gave him a big contract, and he's played just horribly. Defensively, they have not been anything special whatsoever. They've been like a bad team on special teams. They've looked really uncompetitive in a lot of games. And for somebody who you thought is like a coach with a shorter timeline, of course, the fact that the short term has been such a struggle, and like maybe the things that you would kind of figure Carroll is standing on the table for aren't working out, mainly the Geno stuff, which obviously is in large part his doing. It's just kind of unacceptable. Now, the thing about the Raiders is that they have fired a lot of head coaches, right? And maybe that gives them some pause on, like, they don't want to just keep paying and paying.
They're probably still paying Gruden, yeah.
You're right.
He signed a 10-year deal there.
Yeah, it was like 10 years, like $100 million, no?
Yes.
Or was it like 70? It was something crazy. So I think maybe
$100 million.
I completely agree. especially to not coach right now.
That's what
But
I'm saying.
which I'm already doing. But
You might as well.
I think you might as well. But with Carroll, like I just have my doubts if this is how things look from the jump. You brought him in as a vet to sort of turn things around and make things click, and they're not at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Belichick is also making him just look worse. Like old coaches just seem like not the move.
Yeah, there's probably some truth to that.
But I will say, I agree. Like Carroll was supposed to be like super stable, right? Like it doesn't get more experience than that. And it's a disaster. I will say without Bowers and without Colton Miller, like
Sure.
the situation is hopeless. Like
The issue though is that like Gino's playing so bad, you can't even blame it on that, where it's like it wouldn't make a difference. He's a disaster through the first 7 games.
Yeah,
disaster.
Some of these picks have been complete unforced errors, regardless of whether or not there's anybody open or whatever. So yeah, the Raiders are
35.
terrible.
You know, he's a vet too. I understand guys can play until they're 40, but that didn't look like that's going to be Gino, and that is old.
Yeah. He might be Julio on the Titans. I'm afraid, Pete Carroll here.
So I would really consider it if I was Las Vegas. I would have no like real reason other than I can only fire so many guys. I can only afford to pay so many coaches buyouts at once.
What about John Harbaugh?
That's a tough one because he's really long tenured. I mean, I have pretty big issues with him, and clearly, like, he's never going to truly bottom out as long as he has Lamar. That moment's not going to come where you win 4 games with Lamar Jackson playing a full season, even though, I mean, obviously their record isn't very good right now. I don't necessarily blame that entirely on him, but I have frustration with them being a team that instead of going out and trying to take it, it's like, this is a great roster and we're supposed to be better than everybody else, so we're trying not to lose games. We talked about this with the Bills loss. Just unacceptable not to put the ball in Lamar's hands. You know, you don't have a guy like that forever. I don't think Lamar is that old or anything, but he's also not that young, and things can change quickly. You got to maximize every opportunity. Same thing with the defense. It feels like they're a little bit more passive than they could be. And of course, everything's banged up and injured, so it's easy to sit here and say, well, like, things aren't going right now, we got to move on. Mm-hmm. But I will say, unless you have a couple of guys where you're like, this person would definitely make us better, or here's somebody who we know at worst is going to be able to ride off the coattails of Lamar, then I would think about it. I don't think he's going to get fired. I don't think so. But it's definitely not like outside of the realm of possibility. I totally see the vision and I totally see the complaints.
I think he will if he wins
every AFC North coach. Because the AFC North is the one division where every single fan base wants their coach gone. Every single one of them. The Browns,
and they all
have
the somewhat Steelers, valid. They have more valid points than the 49ers fans.
They definitely have more valid points than the 49ers fans. And I think they all will probably end up staying. Right?
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. You think every AFC North... Let's just go through it real quick. I'm pro keep Stefanski. If it wasn't him who made the Watson call, and it was like, you know,
it was the owner. It had to be.
Yeah, if it's Haslam, if it's Haslam, then you just screwed the team. Like, there's no way anyone's going to be good. And I understand, like, he picked Dylan Gabriel or whatever, and like that's not really probably going to work out. It hasn't looked great so far. The Browns are actually in a pretty decent position to go pick a quarterback next year. I think there's some decent guys. They have multiple first-round draft picks. Theirs will already be pretty high. And Stefanski is a 2-time coach of the year. That's not for no reason. We know he's got it in him, but the Play-Doh he's trying to mold right now just isn't giving him very much, and you got to go get him some of that. Yeah. So I'm kind of down. Instead of being like looking for a random coordinator and rolling the dice, I'm keeping the 2-time coach of the year. I'm saying let's build one more time.
What Browns fans want is they want to fire Stefanski, promote Jim Schwartz to head coach, and then go and find a new offensive coordinator. And I keep telling him, I'm like, you're going to be extremely disappointed when this offense that you think is bad because of Stefanski continues to be bad.
That's the worst idea I've ever heard. I think Stefanski's the best coach in that division. Like, let's say every coach in the AFC North gets fired.
If Stefanski was coaching the Ravens, they would win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, let's say every AFC North coach gets fired, and then the Bills move on from McDermott or something. And the Bills are the destination. Everybody wants to go there. You have your pick of everybody in the pool. I would rather have Stefanski than Harbaugh or Tomlin or Zach Taylor. Like, I think his offenses are better.
If you're Stefanski, do you
designs
quit?
are better. Quit?
You
Seriously?
I mean, okay, you're Stefanski. The Ravens. I know this is sounding like college football. The Ravens job is open.
Ever happened before?
I'm thinking about it. It must have, right? There's no way no coach has ever been like,
no coach leaves.
hey, you just traded 3 first-round draft picks and $70 million guaranteed for a guy who is not playing. So I don't know, man.
You quit. Yeah, but
No,
I hear other AFC North fan bases that talk about this also. They're like, dude, if the Browns fired, like, why do Browns fans want Stefanski gone? I would love to have Kevin Stefanski. Because
Nick Saban resigned, I think.
You're right.
Dolphins.
Yes.
He resigned.
Did he make it the whole season?
I think he did. But he quit. And then he went to go be the head coach at Alabama. The Alabama job was open, and he quit. And he
said, "I'm out. I'm cool on the Miami Dolphins." Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that because it was him and Belichick were coaching in Cleveland, and then Belichick left, I think, when the Browns moved.
And he then went to the Jets, and then didn't go to the Jets, and then went to the Patriots, and then I'm guessing right after Saban ended up going to LSU and won a title there, and then went to Miami, and then went to Alabama.
Yeah. Saban in December 21st, 2006, a quote from Coach Saban. I guess I have to say it. I am not going to be the Alabama coach. He then quit to become the Alabama coach.
And I can hear the press conference of him saying that with such conviction. You're like, so I'm sorry for asking.
Twitter had been a thing.
No, he went to Michigan State after, because he didn't stick around for the entire time. That's right. He went to Browns, DC, Michigan State, LSU, Miami, Alabama.
Oh, I didn't even know he went to Michigan State. Okay.
I knew he went to Michigan State. I thought it was maybe before, but that wouldn't make any sense that he would DC for the Browns instead of coach for Michigan.
I don't control what people say. I don't control what people put on .com or anything else. So I'm telling you, there's no significance in my opinion about this, about me, any interest that I have in anything other than being the coach here. I don't control what people put on .com or anything else. It's so funny in 2006.
So I mean, I don't think Stefanski is infallible. I want to say, like, you know, if the results aren't there, it's fine to blame the coach and question the coach, even if we think he's good or he's done good in the past. But I do think what makes it different, that it's like, okay, that the offense isn't working, is that such a horrible decision was made outside of his control that, I mean, it's one of the worst trades in the history of the NFL, if not literally the worst
trade in sports history.
Yeah. It's up there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's up there.
And the offense isn't as bad as like some other offenses across the league. Like, they're not as bad as Tennessee as a passing attack. And they're actually an above average rushing unit this year. Like, they'd work with the things that they have. That Fannin and Njoku are the best two offensive weapons that they have. You can't say that Stefanski isn't maximizing those two as threats. You can't say that he's not maximizing Judkins or Gabriel or anyone else. I feel like I think that the designs make sense. I think that his schemes make sense. I don't see them just spinning their wheels. Like,
here's where most fans go. I think my new theory is, whenever the team is bad and they just like don't understand like entirely why, or it's like, well, the players have been bad for so long, at some point it can't just be the players. Like, once they start getting into their head of like, what else could it possibly be? Well, it has to be the coach. Like, that's just like the next
I have mixed feelings about this, because it's hard to determine what the head coach like can make decisions on and what the general manager can make decisions on. I guess my overall like thought is, if you invest heavily somewhere and like it doesn't like you don't get any results out of it, and that happens for several years, it's fair to question the coach and be like, hey, what's going on? Because they don't have no input. And really, that's why these places should be hiring new GMs and head coaches like at the same time, unless they have like a really established GM or a really established head coach. So that way it's like you don't do the guesswork. You hire two guys as a unit and you say, I know you guys are kind of on the same wavelength, so I don't have to, sit here and parse like whose fault is what. With Stefanski, we know this insanely big move wasn't on him, so I think it's a little bit different. And I completely agree. It's not like he's not maximizing what he has. And it's not like this last draft wasn't pretty good for the Browns. I mean, I think you can go ahead and say that they kind of at least did a pretty good job.
I think Andrew Berry bought himself an extra year.
For sure. I agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. Tomlin
with Zach Taylor, who we haven't... with Zach Taylor, who we have next... I think for him, it just comes down to whether or not you make the playoffs. If you can get in the playoffs with Burrow missing a lot of the season, fair enough. Like you've probably have bought yourself enough time. I mean, his big bet was if you give me a quarterback like Joe Flacco, who isn't anything special, but I guess can see the game decently, and I've got these great receivers. If I can keep us afloat and then go on a run with Burrow, that's sort of his call when they made that trade. And they go up against the Jets next. They could move to 4-4. Even I didn't think it was going to make a big difference, but you could probably win that one, and who knows when Burrow comes back. If the Flacco stuff ends up falling apart, maybe not this next game, but after that, and they play real defenses and they can't keep anything going, and you let go of Lou, and that's not really looking like a great move, and it just seems more like it's Burrow and these great receivers you're paying who are making the passing offense, and not really Taylor, which has always been the concern about him, then I'm fine with moving on, because he's got to prove that he can bring something to the table when Burrow isn't there, because you're already paying Burrow a whole lot of money.
I feel like his great sin is letting Lou Anarumo go and replacing him, and I feel like Lou is a better defensive coordinator than the one they had. Like the young guys, they cut Bates, they cut Reeder, or let him go. I should not say cut, because that's not what happened. But they let those guys go. They didn't give them new contracts. And then Lou is sitting there like, man, where's all my talent? It's leaving out the door, and you're not replacing them with good enough athletes, point blank period. And so I feel like blaming the DC for that, getting rid of him and then bringing in a new guy who maybe just doesn't have the same caliber of results is probably the big thing to nitpick. I wonder with the offensive design, how different it would really get ever when Burrow is at the helm, because I feel like Burrow kind of wants to play a certain way. He wants to be in gun. He wants a really high pass rate. And of course you're going to play like that because it works with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T Higgins. So it's you can switch who's making the calls, but at the end of the day, Burrow is kind of the one making the calls, So you're not going to replace him. So how different is it really going to be? Maybe that's a franchise that could do well signing a real defensive-minded head coach, because hey, the offense is going to be the same either way. If someone like DeMeco Ryans was on the open market to sign as your head coach, or somebody like that, maybe the Bengals would benefit more from somebody like that instead of any kind of offensive guru, because Burrow seems to be kind of the offensive guru, and it seems pretty easy to design an offense around him.
It doesn't take a genius to be like, oh, I've got Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T Higgins.
We're gonna do slant, flat. We're gonna do dagger. We'll throw, just all these classic passing concepts. It's they're all gonna work when you have the best quarterback and receivers. Just drop back and shotgun a ton. Sure, go ahead. It's what he did at LSU. It's always what they've done. There's been how many offseason stories oh, we're going to go under center more. We'd like to try some new things. Does it ever happen? No, it always looks the same, I feel like, or near the same. We're still going to be throwing slants to Jamar Chase. We're still going to be throwing out routes to Jamar Chase. We're still going to be calling 989 and throwing it up the seam to Jamar Chase. It's gonna be
hell yeah.
That's the offense with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T Higgins. So yeah, maybe fire Taylor and bring in
989.
Tomlin.
My favorite route combination.
Yeah, it is.
Tomlin, I think honestly the goal for him is you got to beat a real team in the playoffs for me to care at this point. I think it's tough to find somebody who can deliver any level of consistency in the NFL. You know, this isn't college football where by the nature of some programs, if you're a decent recruiter, you're going to have 9 games or you have a talent advantage or something like that. It's tough to even get 9. But I think the issue that a lot of fans have that I have a hard time disagreeing with is like, well, the ceiling hasn't been there for Pittsburgh for like literally almost a decade at this point. They haven't won a playoff game since 2016. And it feels like at quarterback, they rarely have serious solutions. I think Rodgers is the best that they've had since Ben kind of fell apart. But even then, it doesn't feel like a long-term solution because he's 41. And defensively, I think they're overall pretty talented, and they obviously spend a lot of money or whatnot. But the question is, does Tomlin bring anything extra to that? Against Cincinnati, it didn't really seem like it. So I think it's fair to say, yes, you can do a whole heck of a lot worse than winning 9 games. I mean, some teams can go a decade and not win 9 games and not make the playoffs. But that's not the ultimate goal, and that shouldn't bind you to him forever.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of ink spilled about Tomlin. I think Steelers fans know the situation even better than us media people like at this point, which is probably true for most local fan bases. But yeah, he doesn't seem to be maximizing much, but he is sort of outperforming expectations at the same time.
He is.
He's always a weird case. Jonathan Gannon is the other guy that I wrote down of like, how do we feel about him? They're on a 5-game losing streak now.
I feel pretty bad about Gannon. I mean,
punching DeMarcado wasn't cool.
Nope. I don't like the, well, that's just I don't like that type of stuff. And the defense isn't really that good, is it? And you know what? He seems just kind of like a conservative, more like let's not lose the game guy when they get up. And they blow a lot of 1-score games. A big point, the reason why I was kind of high on them, I'm like, okay, the 1-score game luck, it's like a little bad. Like maybe it's just because they're who they are. But even then, it's like Kyler and the offense doesn't feel maximized at all. And the defense is only marginally better. And anytime they get in a situation where they're up, they let the other team back in. They don't really close out because they play like a lot of these super like light fronts, right? So I just think if the defense isn't moving the way that you want it, and he's like, you know, punching players and you know, I guess Kyler's hurt right now, but it didn't really feel like you're getting more. Yeah. So if you have that type of stuff, I mean, I'm fine with letting him walk at the end of the season if things don't turn around.
Yeah, me too. And then of course there's
I don't think I would fire him mid-season though. That's kind of
no, I'd give him the year. The only person that I would consider firing mid-season is McDaniel right now, honestly. Or like maybe if the wheels really fall off somewhere else.
You wouldn't fire LaFleur right now, Matt?
I'm gonna give LaFleur. If I fire him during the season, it's gonna be more of like a Christmas Day type of thing.
Christmas Day, yeah. If he falls past the 1 seed, he's in really serious trouble. He's lucky that he's the 1 seed in the NFC right now. Otherwise, he'd be in big trouble. He's lucky he's the number 1 passing EPA offense right now. Otherwise, things would be rough for him. Can you imagine being number 3?
Yeah,
like these categories.
Sure, his job is probably safe right now on the Packers, but imagine if he was coaching the Jets and he was 0-7. He would be in.
Exactly, he'd be right out. I would rather Matthew Golden have better numbers than be the 1 seed. Just me personally. So these are the real dialogues that are happening on Packers Twitter right now. I don't know if you guys are on this or not, but like
I'm not.
The majority of the fan base on Twitter thinks like LaFleur is actively like selling what could be a great roster. So,
okay.
I'm not sure, guys.
So Browns fans and Packers fans are the same. Good.
They have this in common, but the Browns are terrible, and the Packers are the 1 seed in the conference and have won many playoff games under LaFleur and have been to the playoffs. I think
Kevin
every
Stefanski
season but
won
one.
Coach of the Year with Joe Flacco and made the playoffs with Joe Flacco and others at quarterback, and they still wanted him gone. Like,
here's the thing, though. Coach of the Year, low-key, does not matter.
No, it doesn't. I think Stefanski has won it 2 times for a reason, though. I don't.
Yeah, yes. But so is, like, you know, a lot of coaches that maybe
it's not the most. It's
not. Yeah, sure. What about Sirianni?
Nah,
Probably not. He's coming off a Super Bowl,
let's
man.
just think like every other year he'll have a good offensive coordinator and they'll win the Super
Okay,
Bowl.
I'll take every other year you'll be in the Super Bowl. Cool. All right, we'll just tank one year. Fine.
Sure.
The other guy really is Brian Daboll, but I think honestly it comes down to the Dart stuff. If Dart develops and looks good, and I feel like a lot of their key players look pretty good. I think Neighbors is great. He's obviously hurt, but Brian Burns is balling. I think Carter's look good. You got Lawrence. We've seen the impact that Andrew Thomas has. It's like there's actually kind of some building blocks in New York a little bit here. Then I'm fine with rolling with him because I don't think he's necessarily a bad coach. Although I did think the Dart like Russ stuff where he's like upset about the king. Yeah, all right, then. Yeah, I didn't love that necessarily, but I don't think he's like necessarily a terrible coach.
No, I've never felt that Daboll was like a terrible. I felt like obviously when Daniel Jones was there towards the end, it was very clear that Daniel Jones was like holding things back in this offense.
But I mean, look at what Daniel Jones is doing now. So maybe that makes you think a little bit differently about it.
Goat, man.
Steichen is the GOAT. So I'll give, I can understand.
And they got
that.
JT, man. So I don't.
They do have a better offense overall. For
yeah,
sure.
they have the Giants' offense has been like average since Dart took over. Like you wouldn't fire Daboll now. Like they've gone from terrible to fine, which is a big jump to take. And now the battle will be go from fine to elite, which you're not going to do without Neighbors. But like you're happy
you can buy
if you're
yourself
Daboll.
Another year. You can buy yourself.
If I was the defensive coordinator, I might be a little bit scared after what happened in Denver. But if I was Daboll, I think I'm chilling.
Speaking of Denver, Sean Payton, a lot of Broncos fans are not a fan of him. They don't like him.
I have my issues with him, but they're good right now.
They're good. I think his biggest sin is not putting Mims on the field more, maybe. Like, why is Marvin Mims like not out there half the time? He seems to be the second best receiver, I'd say. So that I have an issue with. And I get like how some of the screens and swings can be annoying and when they're getting blown up like they were in the first half and you keep calling them, it sucks. It's bad offense. But the drop back passing game is bad offense for the Broncos too. All right. And it was in that game at the beginning when it was pure drop back stuff. There was a lot of ugly tape from Bo Nix. They did 3 straight like aggressive, no play action, no screen, like downfield attack things to begin the game. And they went 3 and out with like 3. They weren't terrible throws, but like it's like what else can you ask though? If like they started the game doing this, they go 3 and out, and then they start to go into their shell a little bit more. When that stuff hasn't really worked all year, every single point that they scored was off some bootleg half field read or QB run game with a screen attached to the backside. And I also don't buy the idea that Bo Nix like. They just opened it up in the fourth quarter and Bo Nix just like cooked. Like that's not really what happened. They called a lot of the same plays that they had called earlier. They just worked this time. Evan Ingram had a 20-yard screen pass where he broke a tackle and went up the sideline. They converted a 3rd and 6 on a screen. Bo Nix for the go-ahead touchdown before that wasn't a pass. That was a run. That was a really well-designed run with a screen on the backside that distracted the linebackers. Like, we don't like that for Sean, but we want to take that out of the playbook for a Hail Mary, for dagger, for whatever. Like, I don't know. 989. Like, I don't know if when they're bottom 5 in success rate on straight drop back passes. Like, I think that the leash is on Bo Nix for a reason. I think Bo Nix came back in the fourth quarter with a bit of a leash on. There were some good throws down the sideline, some contested catches, a lucky play where I think he missed his intended receiver and the other guy caught it. Like, it was good to see. It was a good win, but it's like, I'm not convinced that Sean Payton is doing this for no reason. And I'm not convinced like Bo Nix is just ready to play football like Drew Brees and like Sean Payton is too silly to see it. I'm very doubtful about those things in a way that a lot of the Denver fans seem to be convinced of.
Fair enough. Do we want to get into the stay hot locks?
Let's do it.
Got to. Coming out of week 7, Matt, you had 8 points, locked the Chiefs and the Steelers. Steelers let you down early on and you stay at 8 points. I locked the Patriots and the Browns. My Browns came through for me.
Crazy.
In crazy fashion.
But it wasn't
Thought that was
particularly close.
It wasn't close at all. They put belt to ass, just like I said they would. And then, Theo, you were coming in with 5 points, locking the Broncos and the Packers, bringing you up to 7. You were sweating through.
I was sweating that 2 window, man.
That was intense.
That was an intense watch. Yeah.
So now Matt still has 8 points. I have 8 points. Theo has 7 points. It's a very close season of the Stay Hot Locks. I get to pick my own pick here. And it's looking like a pretty good week. I'm going to
it's a very good week.
I still like to have the first pick. Give me Chiefs over the Commanders.
Fair enough. With Mariota, I can't.
The Chiefs might not punt.
Yeah, they got Mariota out there. So, Matt.
Mariota's not even the thing I'm concerned about with the Commanders, honestly.
Yeah.
I just don't think the Chiefs are going to punt.
I mean, dude, they're 12.5 point dogs coming into this game. It could be a blow.
Yeah. I mean, I'll take the second pick.
Go for it.
Okay, I'm going to take Colts over the Titans. The Colts are really good and the Titans are really bad.
Yeah.
That's true.
Very fair. I will take the Bills over the Panthers, even though the Bills have been playing mid-football. And this is the thing that has got me burned so many times this year is picking like the preseason powerhouses, the perennial AFC title game or NFC title game teams, and then like ignoring the fact that they're a little mid this year and then they get beat. But do I see anything better? I don't know if I do. So Eagles versus Giants got me burned last time. That's kind of a similar type of situation. Broncos Cowboys, I don't feel great about.
You could pick it again, man.
I'm not going to pick it again. That was a healthy win.
7.5 point favorites.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be gun shy. I'm gonna take the Bills over the Panthers, and then
Lamar's practicing.
Lamar is practicing. I guess I'm going to take the Broncos. I'm going to take the Browns over the Patriots over the Browns. That is
fair enough. I'm mad at you for picking my Panthers. I was going to pick the Panthers and emotionally hedge on this one because they're okay. It's been cool. They're not beating Josh Allen and the Bills.
It seems like they are a little bit due to lose.
They're a little. They're one of the dewest teams currently to take an L. But I don't know. Can you run on the Bills? Can the Panthers get it going? We'll see.
It's
not unthinkable.
It's not unthinkable. Look, I'm very concerned about the Bills' defense. I don't think Josh Allen is playing at an MVP level. I don't think he's been terrible, but I don't think he's been playing at an MVP level. So
sure.
The Bills are
certainly
right
Carolina is not a get-right game. This I know.
If you look at the team tiers, Carolina and Buffalo is almost in the exact same spot.
Carolina has played a couple of really bad run defenses, and that has messed up their stat. I think they've done a good job running the ball, but they're not going to go for 450 yards over 2 weeks on the ground again. I would guess that's kind of my thought about them. But the rushing defense is good. I don't know. Maybe this will be a great test for their rushing defense. I'm excited for it. And then they play the Packers, who they've got. So even if you go 1-1 in that stretch, you don't feel that bad about it.
Yeah, I'm completely unconfident in this pick now that I'm saying it, but I've already said it. So we're just going to go.
It's already locked in.
I'm going to go Bengals over the Jets. I'm not really that confident in the Bengals, as some great team or whatever, but we just talked about how the Jets passing defense is so bad, and you got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And if I'm wrong about this, then in some ways I'm right about the Flacco trade not being that great. So I'll just talk about whichever one is better for me. It's perfect.
And so now I'm back here with the swing, and I forgot to say it at the top, but Stay Hot Locks are brought to you, of course, by our good friends over at FanDuel. They're goated. And I've already got the Chiefs here. So now I've just got Theo, when you said Browns over Patriots at first, I was like, time to challenge, baby. Let's go.
No.
Matt, you're taking the Bengals. So I will take the Falcons over the Dolphins. One of these
Fair
games is going to end up being the last for McDaniels, and this one could be it. And then do I take one more?
You could.
I could. How bad are the injuries in Tampa right now is the real question.
Not.
They're not. They still got
it's
Wirfs.
not
They still got
awesome.
Ibuka. They got Vea. They've got. Is Bucky back anytime soon?
I don't think Bucky's back this next week.
No, but Baker's still playing well enough, and
No, he's out.
they have Ibuka. I'll take the Bucs over the Saints, and then I'll be out.
Cool. I'm out as well.
Yeah, I'm not locking the Texans, even though their defense is like the best in the league. Absolutely by far.
The 49ers.
I wouldn't do that at all.
I'm not touching that game at all.
I'm
What's
not
the spread
touching
on
that game either.
1.5
It's
to the
Houston's
Texans.
favored by
Yeah,
1.5.
bro.
Yeah.
You got it.
That's when we're just looking at my analytics tiers. Houston's actually way above the 49ers because like their defense just puts them there. But I think that's a little bit of a downfall with this list because I don't think they're actually that good. Man, I am. Please, Bills, bail me out. I'm going to be done.
Cool.
So those are the Stay Hot locks brought to you by FanDuel. I'm taking the Chiefs, Falcons, and Buccaneers, tied with Matt at 8 points, who is taking the Colts and the Bengals, and Theo, left with 7 points, is taking the Bills and the Patriots. We'll be watching that Chiefs Commanders game on Monday night. So make sure, again, if you're not subscribed already to the Stay Hot YouTube channel, you are, so that you get the notification.
NBA season started. I got my Hornets turned on right now. We're talking NBA over on the Patreon if you're interested in that.
That's right.
Banger.
Sweet.
Peter Summer saying, I'm seeing the Cavs are down by 10 right now.
Season's over.
Brooklyn has 99th percentile points per possession right now, Matt.
Okay, and the Hornets are up. And you know who's 100th percentile in that case?
Charlotte does.
You.
Charlotte has 99th percentile.
And you lied on my team's name. Okay.
You lied.
They're shooting 60% from the floor, Matt. Stop the count.
We've seen enough.
We have seen enough.
Colin Sexton's running hard out there right now, getting down in transition.
Oh, yeah. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Stay Hot. As always, from your favorite fellas here talking ball, Matthew Spawnhour, Theo Ash, Blaiden Kirk. We'll catch you on the flippity flop.